myself. Yeah. I'm feeling myself.
Welcome back to another episode of Loose Ends, everyone. I'm Cece.
I'm Val.
And today we are going to talk about AI, about which I know very little.
Well, a little bit about AI.
I know very little. We're going to talk a little bit about AI, but we'll get there because here's the thing. I want to talk a little bit about what's going on. So, we've been doing this podcast now for over a year. We've been thinking about it for a couple. We referred to that last episode last week, which was the 20th, Inauguration Day. And what we both realized is that we were having less fun doing this than we used to.
Yeah.
And that it was becoming more work. Cumbersome. Look at Val. Look at Val using a big word. Look at that. I'm so proud of you. And you said it properly.
I know. In context, perfectly. I know.
So we had this discussion of, do we even want to keep doing this? And then we played with the idea of numbers. You know, like last week, 25 people watched on YouTube. I didn't even check, actually, last week's numbers on audio. The point is, we're not reaching millions. We're not reaching thousands yet. And what if we did? Excuse me. We had this discussion on, would that change the perspective? And what comes along with that? Because stuff comes along with that. Commercials. You get to monetize your YouTube channel. You get a source of passive income. All of this kind of the seduction of the notion. The reality is different. The reality is you either become, and this is just the way it is, and it's true of, I suppose, of any industry, you become a slave to it. But if you're not getting enjoyment out of it, if it becomes cumbersome, burdensome, then what's the point? Is helping people, which is our original intent, was to have some fun. I mean, the first line, I think we channeled it 2 years ago. Learn a little, laugh a little, leave feeling lighter. That was the whole point of this endeavor.
Yeah.
Well, if we may be learning a little bit, maybe you are too, I don't know. We're laughing a little bit, but we're not leaving feeling lighter in the last little while.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay.
Well, I guess it just comes down to we don't
stop. But we don't want to just stop.
We're also feeling the edge of what's happening in society right now. And there is such a huge division and it's only getting worse. And in feeling that we're the opposite message of one of those divisions.
Say more.
Speak
more.
Well,
tell them what you're talking
because
about.
I believe that we have a message that is about fulfilling your soul, not your bank account. Okay. And it's come down. I believe the two sides have really come down to people who are interested in growing their soul or growing into their soul or growing into themselves, evolving. Yes. Or people
Which really just means reaching for higher levels of consciousness, to become more aware, not only of your internal landscape, but of the effect it has on your external landscape and vice versa.
Right. And then the other side of that division is people who want to evolve only financially. And I heard an interesting story yesterday.
And can't it be both, though?
I would love it to be both. And yes, in my life, it's both. I don't have such an adverse reaction to money or having a lot of money, but I do have an adverse reaction to some of the power that comes behind a lot of money.
That exists behind, or that comes with.
No, not comes with, that exists behind
exists
already.
behind.
And they, I've told you this before, that I don't believe the devil, you can sell your soul. I don't believe you can sell anything that does not belong to you. Your soul is not yours. It belongs to the collective, but you can taint it. And that's a difference. And that's what I think capitalism is. It taints the soul. In my opinion. This is just my opinion, folks. This is just where I go personally and emotionally.
Well,
that not all people who have a lot of money, I'm not saying that at all.
No, and because, and I grew up in the church where the phrase from the Bible of, money is the root of all evil is constantly misquoted, because it is not money.
It's an energy, and we have to work with it.
The love of money is the root of all evil, or that is the actual quote. So I get that. And so anyway, back to our original topic, which is,
so my point in all this, to bring it back, is that we are in such a division, and to me personally, it kind of looks like the other side is winning.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way.
It feels right. It feels that way, and it's even more difficult to get out a message when you're on the other side of that. So that was where we were talking this morning about, how easy is it going to be for us? Who owns YouTube? Who owns all this shit, right? Like, how easy are we going to be able to spread our message?
And frankly, seeing that picture, almost couldn't avoid it. It's just out there, And
what picture?
The picture of all the tech heads. So you had the new one, Tim Cook, head of Apple. You had the head of Google. You had, I forget all the names. You had Zuckerberg. You had, there's 6 of them.
Okay.
And there they all were. Bezos, Amazon.
Yeah.
And they're all at the inauguration. It's like, it feels a little bit like paying fealty to the king. Because they gotta go along to get along. That's the nature of business. That is the nature of capitalism. And also, I saw this incredible series of videos. You see, this is the issue with spontaneous conversation. I don't go back and check. But wait a minute. So this thing on capitalism that I was telling you about, and how the United States of America has had a sustained level of improvement year over year for 100 years, since 1870 to 1970. And this particular economist, PhD in economics, and he's professor emeritus at MIT in economics. So he knows his shit, you know what I'm saying? And he studied all this. So he looks at patterns in it, at waves. And you can predict things if well, this is, these were the conditions that grew this kind of crop, if you're a gardener, and these are the conditions that kind of fucking wiped it out. So he's looking at that in 1970. He makes the point that 3 things happened. Let's see if I can remember them. Number 1 is things leveled off. Our actual wages, what it could buy in real dollars, so not the gross national product, but the it's called real wage something. It's an acronym that I don't remember. How much your money actually will buy you, right? Leveled off, and women entered the workforce. Now that's all tied into feminism and burn your bra, and I lived through that era in the 1970s. And it was all under the conscious choice of freedom. But the unconscious thing was that, wait a minute.
Family needs two incomes
to grow. And the other thing that kicked in, this is how much I don't remember right now, but it was, credit cards. Credit cards kicked in. So before that, you didn't have credit cards.
Yeah.
And so
you wrote checks.
Right. And so what you did now was you could buy credit, which gave you the illusion of living up to your lifestyle. but you're still in a rat race.
Yeah.
And then there was one third influential aspect, and I don't remember what it is at the moment, but those two alone, you can see the impact since 1970.
Yeah.
So that's been 55 years. And in that period of time, then the other thing that came in was Ronald Reagan and his Reaganomics in 80, close thereafter, and boom, 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 and the me generation, and the more is better, and the materialism, and the capitalism. And capitalism was ushered in by the Civil War.
Yeah.
And that's really an interesting notion to me. And I don't know enough to talk any more about it, but I encourage the audience to go digging a little bit, because here's the thing. I think it's all going to fucking blow up. I think it's all going to fucking blow up very soon, and within the next couple of years, and probably sooner. If you look at the rise and fall of the dollar and the debt and the stock market and the crazy volatility of it all right now, that usually precedes some sort of
and what did I
crash.
hear, that yesterday was the 25th of January and all the planets had aligned, and it had not happened since 1776, which was like the beginning of the American Revolution.
And Pluto went into Aquarius.
So
Pretty sure Pluto
I
just
mean,
entered Aquarius.
say what you want about astrology. To me, it's the oldest science in the world, and it's pretty accurate, and it can, So, I mean, maybe there's a revolution, bubbling underneath America right now.
I'm not sure that it's bubbling underneath.
Yeah, I think
it's right
it's
there on the fucking surface. And it's going
and
boom,
what
boom,
I
boom,
found
boom,
interesting
boom, boom.
last week was we now understand that the whole Trump administration owns the media, because not one protest was televised for the other side.
Were there protests?
All over the country.
I did not even know that there were protests, because, well, first of all, I'm trying to stay off the
Yes.
news and away from that kind of
Yes.
detailed information. But you can't avoid the
No.
headlines if you're out in the car. And I don't listen to headphones very much, so I'm often on NPR or the local radio, top hits, kind of song that I can sing along with. And they still have at the top of the hour the headlines from the United States and what Trump just did or said.
Well, what I'm saying is that we're probably getting, but we're not even getting like the protests that are going, you have to find that online. So all the protests that are going on for like Black Lives Matter, Women Matter, like Me Too, they're protesting. It's all against that administration, and they're happening everywhere, but they're not being televised, and the only way you know about it is through online. So,
and I'm just not online enough, for that. And that was one of the things. Back to the beginning of this conversation, which has totally veered from AI, and we may very well get back to that or not. You never know where the conversation.
That's our tagline, right?
Yeah. We got that way back when. What was I going to say?
Well,
back to the conversation around. I really literally have forgotten. That's what happens when I do that. I'm going to have to cut this part out.
Well, coming back to, I guess, the podcast.
Oh, now I remember.
Yeah.
I'll just start it there.
Okay.
Oh, now I remember. The whole social media thing. The regularity of posting. I have a calendar that's hanging on my wall in different colors. I've printed it out for the quarter, and which days and what things get posted when. And I know you can get software that does all this. Don't tell me that. I mean, I already know that, okay? But we don't do enough for it. And I'm a tactile person and old school. So like punching buttons to make things do things for me that I can fucking do for myself with a pencil in my hand is still something that's important to me. Because you know what? Here's the other thing. Whoop! She went on a tear here all of a sudden. Neural pathways are built through tactile interaction. Any psychologist, anybody's going to tell you, any scientist is going to tell you that when you pick up a pen and you write something on a piece of paper, you will retain that 10 times more readily than if you type it on a keyboard or into a phone or tape it and listen to it over and over again. There is a different, this is why the hand-eye coordination and the studies that now show that those who are active with their hands live longer. Not
Well,
that I'm really
funny.
looking to live longer.
It's funny you say that because I was
more
reading an
meaningfully,
article
meaningfully.
yesterday, and it was showing pictures of like real people.
Really? Was it showing pictures? Look at your hands. You're having fun with you. I'm sorry.
with earphones. Thank you.
That was her fuck off look.
Yes, it was. If you didn't get that, she did.
Earphones.
Wearing earphones from a very young age, 13 gamers, and then them now being 28, and their heads are caved in that much from their earphones. No, it's honest to God. And they have predicted like that because of the phone and how the things we use and how we stand, that, you know, the human beings in like 30 years, it's going to start changing how
our skeletal shape is.
Right.
Wow,
so we have
scary.
to.
My mother always came around and pulled my shoulders back and said, stand up straight. Stand up straight. And
I don't do, I mean, I sometimes slouch, but I really do try to stand up or sit up straight.
When I'm sitting, I fucking
Oh yeah, it's awful.
Like, look at this.
It's awful. I know. Gives you flat ass too.
Yeah. So we're not sure where this is going. That's the bottom line of this message in this direction of this conversation, which is we're not sure. Are we going to stay in this regular routine of every Monday trying to edit, upload, and, you know, broadcast in terms of splash what little bits of social media contact we have with information and, you know, hawk. That's how it feels to me, is hawk our wares, even though it's fucking free. It's like all we want to do is help people live a little less stressfully. And there are some, you know, we've tried to share in the past year and a half some input on specifics around that. What you can actually do, ways you can choose to think. I've exhausted myself. What do you want to say? So far, no ha-has. Let's have some fun. Let's tell some jokes or some shit.
We're not that kind of funny.
No.
We're not tell joke funny.
No.
We're tell stories funny.
Yeah.
That's who we are. We're storytellers.
Well, you're a good storyteller. I tell different types of stories.
Yes.
I tell the meaningful, I'm going to make you cry story. And you tell
sometimes I do tell those.
Well,
but...
yeah, you do. Good grief.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Right. Right, exactly. Like I think we're diverse enough that we can access a lot.
Okay, so this is a total meandering conversation around our thought processes on and doubts
of going forward.
And we're like,
it's a lot of work.
Yeah, how much longer do we want to do this?
Right.
And so that brings us full circle back to, well, what if it was 1 million people? I almost want to puke.
I still don't want to
when
change.
When I think about what is required,
I don't know.
Not just to get there, but once you're there,
yeah.
You know, you've got to make deals, and you've got to work with people whose value
you might not necessarily like very much
system are not in alignment.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of the business, because it is a business. And YouTube is preventing, due to algorithmic makeup, a lot of reach for people like us.
Yeah.
Because it is a numbers game. So given that it's a numbers game, do we want to play by those rules? That's the question. So today, for example, what's today?
Today is the 26th, Sunday the 26th.
Right, so this will be up and going tomorrow,
yeah.
Monday the 27th. And the question we asked ourselves today was, do we want to film this? Because a lot of the issues started once we started taping.
We had a lot more fun when we were just recording.
Yeah.
Audio.
Yeah. And so we're like, well, do we want to go back to that?
Yeah, so then we were like, well, do we want to go back to recording? And then Cindy's like, well, consistency, and we went on video and we do get 25 views, and some guy just randomly popped up and said, good luck with your podcast, you came up on my feed. So,
and I enjoyed it, and I'm like, oh my God, we reached a stranger. And so we had just decided, fuck it, we're not going to do a video today, and we'll just tell our audience we're not doing a video. And then I went, oh, look.
She's very good at flip-flopping.
Yeah, I run back up the stairs and I go,
But
so maybe. So we're filming this and we're going to keep on doing it, but we're going to be less rigid, severe on ourselves. Is that a nice way of saying that I'm a little harsh around deadlines and due dates and things like that, and quality control?
No, I didn't get that from that, but now that you've told me, it makes me very happy. I live with her.
All right. Well, do you have anything else to say about all of that?
No,
We really haven't said much of anything. It's been 21 minutes of bullshit right now.
Well, I not necessarily. I think you have to understand that we want to help you. We want you to understand that we're sitting on the fence. We don't know what we should do. And maybe we need part of your input for that. Because we don't hear much from you. The 25 that we do have, or however many we have, we don't hear much from you. And, we'd like to know, because right now we're on the fence. It's pretty simple.
I wasn't going to go there, but she kind of just went there beautifully. So I'm going to let her be there.
That's where we're at.
I guess that's where we're at.
No, I have a couple friends who would be, who would tell me, no, don't do, but on the whole, I don't really talk to our other listeners.
And here's the other reality. Here's the other piece of this. For those of you who do care enough and do listen, and I know that there are more, far few people watch us than listen. And so, we're behind the listening thing, because that's one platform.
Yeah.
I use one software for that, and there's a whole other
we
software
don't have to get
and different
up and
steps
get our hair done and makeup done.
And we both admitted that we're still, unfortunately, still vain enough that I am not going to do a video
looking like shit, because that's the one that goes fucking viral. That's Murphy's Law. One day I'm going to meet Murphy and kick him in the shin, and you know what'll happen? The guy next to him will actually be Murphy, because that's how Murphy works. Fuck.
There you go. Well, so what was I saying? You totally threw me there, because Murphy, poor Murphy.
Well,
I never thought
he's
about
not poor
Murphy.
Murphy.
As being a
Fuck
real
poor Murphy.
person. But I guess if it's Murphy's Law, then he was a person at some point. It was Murphy's, like Peter's principle, right?
Or layman. Who the fuck was layman, and how stupid was he?
Let me put it in layman's terms. Duh.
Right? Who was layman? Oh, that's funny. So there's a little chuckle for you. And that's what we want to do more of, frankly. More chuckles about real life. Because I was just as fucking real with you as I can be. This is where we're at. And
here's the other piece, and that's what I was going to say before Murphy entered the conversation. Both of us are sitting at a place where I'm not prepared yet, nor is she, I don't think. And she's like, what the fuck is she about to say? Where we both have an opportunity, a potential opportunity in front of us that might require of stepping aside from this as a methodology to reach people.
right.
It might require us to turn our attention somewhere else short term.
Well, and here's the other
We'll see.
other side of it.
And it's all good.
everybody.
Students.
There are so many people out there, and I mean, I know a lot of them are nonsensical, but everybody is doing a podcast. One comedian said there's too many microphones out there.
Yeah.
And
we
that's
don't wanna
accurate.
add to
We don't
the
want to,
clutter.
right. We want something that we don't want like I've watched a lot of, podcasts, and I'm just like I get halfway through and I'm, this is nonsense.
Or it's a waste of my time.
Right.
I don't want to waste your time. So, given that we have now wasted 25 minutes,
I
of
don't
it,
think we have. I think we got clear to the point, and you know
actually,
our intention.
I want to thank the audience right now, whoever's listening,
Yes,
whoever's
absolutely.
watching, for allowing us to kind of talk it out. I'm an external processor most of the time, but a lot swirls around internally, and I require more time. You go off, and you're more of an introvert that way, and do your processing internally, and then come back 3 days later and go, okay, here's the deal.
Totally.
Yeah. So I think we're at a place where we hope you've enjoyed what we've provided thus far.
Yeah.
If you happen to trip across this one and it turns out to be our last one, it won't be, because we would come back and let you know that. Go back and listen to a couple on our website, Loose.EndsPodcast. You can find it on Apple. You can find it on all the platforms.
Yeah.
Loose Ends. Just type in Two Brassy Broads, and that's what'll come up in pink.
Yeah.
Do you have a feel-good story?
I do have a
This
feel-good story. This is a story that comes from Saskatchewan. There's a guy who lives in Regina, and his name is Matt Wesley. And Matt Wesley spends a lot of his time with his family going searching for lost dogs and cats, because it's literally like -30, right, out there. So when a dog or cat gets lost, they're in danger, right? So he just does this with his kids. They drive around, and there was a notice about this couple who was taking the Trans-Canada Highway, and they had lost their dog and they were from Ontario going to Edmonton, and they stayed around like 7 hours looking for the dog. The dog didn't come back, so they had to leave because they had a very important business trip, and they were just like beside themselves, sick. And this was around Regina area, so of course Matt hears about this dog running around separate. He doesn't know where this dog lives or anything, but hears that this dog is running around this mall, and so he puts the kids in the car. What do you say, kids? Let's go try to get this dog. Poor dog's got icicles all over his. Oh my God, he was just really cold, but very scared. He was just they were at a mall, and people were taking pictures. Is your dog, sort of thing, and pet communities, he went
toward people.
So he went and some people in the mall, security and stuff, they managed to help him corner the dog, and it was a very sweet dog, but scared, right?
Sure.
And a medium-sized dog like Finn, right?
Yeah.
Like a good-sized dog. And so he starts posting videos, but this dog is like incredible. Second day, his cat is loving on this dog. His dog loves his daughter, loves him. He's like, I had this dog in a past life. I swear to God, this dog and me are like totally connected. And then on the feed where he's, showing all these pictures, this woman is like, I think that's my dog. And so they connected. And he was sending him pictures, hoping maybe, they'd allow him to adopt him. And she was like, you're fucking killing me the whole time. But turns out they live in a little small community in Ontario where there's only 500 people. And she owns a little hardware store in this town, and the dog works at the hardware store. And everybody in the hardware, like in this town of 500 people, love this dog, and he's a part of their community. So he kept the dog until they came and picked him up, and then he's gone. He goes back home, but they come through to visit. So every time they come through to visit,
the dog gets to visit.
They get to visit Matt Wesley and his family. And
It
was just such a sweet story, because I think that it's really, I admire people who take their spare time and go looking for pets and help rescue pets, and it's really, because unfortunately in our society we have so much dumping of animals.
And I love how many of the feel-good stories that you trip across, maybe
Are
it's
animals.
the algorithm and the way you do it, involve animals.
Yeah.
So,
But I think
yeah,
it's what I choose to watch, right? Like
Unconditional
I don't want to. I love watching
True,
cat
that's what I mean.
videos and I love puppy videos and dog and feel good animal stories
Yeah.
because it's nice to see people treat animals with such like they're a human, because that's how I treat mine, really.
I know. And I wrestle with that myself just because my friend Christina, who was raised on a farm, goes, no, they're not human. She's like, animals are animals for a reason. They're animals. We're human. They're animals.
And see, I just don't see it that way. I see it
and
as
that doesn't mean she didn't love them.
No, but I just see
it
it more of a like I would call Callie my spiritual advisor.
Yeah, no, it's a totally different thing. But as she said one time, look, if you grow up wringing the neck of your dinner,
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
of course you're going to have to separate
get a chicken.
your emotions. And see,
Right.
and that was, Chris too said to me a long time ago, he said, you should not eat what you cannot kill. And I thought, ooh, that's an interesting statement. So could I kill a cow? No, I couldn't kill a cow.
Oh, I see.
I couldn't even kill a chicken. So,
Yeah, no.
so I really have no business eating that because I don't have it in me to kill them.
Okay, well, that's a whole different lens on the vegan aspect as opposed to health. Because most vegans I've ever met look terribly unhealthy to me. It's like, eat a little protein, man, something. But anyway.
Yeah.
All
Another
right.
story.
Another story.
Anyway, so that's us today.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for coming.
I hope you had a little bit of amusement as you watched us wade through our personal maze. We shall see you next week
Yes, we
or
will.
whenever,
We'll figure it out.
and we'll see what we want to talk about next week. You never know.
Maybe we will do AI next week.
You never know. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody.